Hello and welcome to our very special spotlight session here about our celebration about the design thinking festival, which we are celebrating today and not today, this year actually. And I'm really happy to see so many of you familiar faces, some non-familiar faces, but really happy to welcome you here to the GDTA, to the Global Design Thinking Alliance, our monthly spotlight session, which is this time a very special one because we are looking inside of the GDTA and inside of HPI in Potsdam and also the Hasso Plattner D.School in Cape Town, where we celebrate this year in Potsdam our 15th anniversary. It was actually 15 years ago when I got the chance to start together with Hasso Plattner and Christoph Meinl and some other people in Potsdam, the School of Design Thinking, with a big portion of help through our sister institution, the D.School in Stanford. And so we were saying we want to have this as a moment to celebrate 15 years of design thinking experience now in Germany and Europe. And there was in the same year, there's also the chance to open the first design thinking dedicated building on the planet. And that is the case in Cape Town in South Africa with our friends at the D.School there, which is up and running since several years now. But this year is the big chance to move into a new building. And since we always, through the past years, had to find a special building to celebrate, we had, when we started our the fifth anniversary, actually, we had to build a circus tent because we didn't have the right location. So we built a circus tent, but this year we don't have to build anything because there is a new building there. And I'm really happy that will be officially opened in October. So we are gathering here to share about the programs in Potsdam and in Cape Town, and also to share about the program which is connecting both events in Potsdam and in Cape Town, which is the Global Design Thinking Challenge. And we have all involved people and doers and makers. They're all here today to share with you the latest update. And I'm really happy that I can be a part of that as well, because I will learn lots of new things as well. So my name is Uli Weinberg. I'm the director of the School of Design Thinking in Potsdam. I had the pleasure to start the whole thing 15 years ago. And now I'm co-directing the School of Design Thinking with Claudia Nicolai, who is presenting right after me here about the activities in Potsdam. And she will be joined by Sherif Osman, who is kind of building the bridge between Potsdam and South Africa and Cape Town, and managing the Global Design Thinking Challenge. And then we see presentations by Jenny van Niekerk and Richard Perez. They will keep us, they will get us up to date about the D.Con festival, the first one, which is not happening in Potsdam, which is at Cape Town in October. And I'm really looking forward to that. So we are planning to have about 30 to 40 minutes with our presentations. And then there is an open discussion round as every time at the Spotlight. And we try to stay in a 60-minute time period. And not lose too much of time, I just hand over to Claudia Nicolai. I'm really happy that we can learn from you and also from Sherif about the Global Design Thinking Festival, and especially the part in Potsdam.
Yes, thanks first of all to you, Uli, and also warm welcome, even though it's a bit, I would say, cloudy today here in Potsdam, to all of you coming in here, because for us this hour is very special in terms of We do not only want to use that as kind of a marketing channel to make you all aware, yes, there are amazing things happening in September and October this year with the Global Design Thinking Festival. But we rather would use that opportunity as it's the GDTA spotlight to share with you a few of our thoughts that we have been putting together in terms of trying to create that program. So it's a bit of a reflection. This is what I'm going to start with in terms of why we are talking now about design thinking impact. Specifically at the event in Potsdam, also as a hybrid event, so you can also join as a virtual participant and interact with us who are going to be on site, but also with the other people virtually. And then show and share with you how we can bring that also to life in terms of actions. That's going to be the GDTC part, the Global Design Thinking Challenge, and then how we would love to bring that into the discourse of the Decon Festival, the third one and the first one, the third one in a row, and the first one in Cape Town at the Hasso Plattner School of Design Thinking there. So therefore, let me start with trying to frame also a bit the title that we came up with for this GDTA spotlight. Is actually design thinking coming to an age. And that's really true. The first time I did encounter design thinking was actually through reading an article in Harvard Business Review in 1998. It was the title was Spark Innovation Through Empathic Design. Was written by two business professors, and it was addressing the need in business and management, a specific innovation strategy, to be more empathetic about the future users. And that brought me into design thinking. And also in 2001, there was this first book published by actually Tom Kelly, but also co-written by Jonathan Littman in terms of the art of innovation. And that was really, I think, the moment in time when design thinking as term got coined. So therefore, this as a starting point, but also D.School in Potsdam 15 years ago as a starting point, brought us to reflect upon the past, present, and future of design thinking. And past, present, and future of design thinking has for us to do a lot with the scope. And if we do look back into the past, as it has been also originally coined by, for example, Tom Kelly, it has been an approach that was actually meant to be design-driven into the business world. So one of the key concepts in terms of scoping was to be user-centric, trying to understand what the user needs and how we can create new solutions, product and services that will fulfill that gap or fill that gap in terms of tapping into that market niche, something new to the world that we can create. And that got challenged also by us and also the D.School in Africa in terms of saying that's not only it. So whenever we create something new, we should not necessarily just think about the business context. We should also think about people not just being buyers of products and services, but being human beings. So therefore, the shift we took was in the recent past to frame design thinking as a human-centered approach, trying to better understand what people are trying to aspire, what their desires are, and to create opportunities for them where they can meet those. And this led us to a different conceptualization of design thinking that, as of now and also for the future, we're also further advanced in terms of not only saying we'll just consider the human being, but we'll also consider their context, the life they lead, but also the system they're in. And the system is the social system, but it's also the environment. So that brought us overall, if we look back at those 20 years of design thinking, from trying to reinvent product and service innovations through creating new business opportunities, new forms of entrepreneurship, into applying design thinking also for organizational change and transformation in order to create the future we all want to live in. And that's also what we're going to talk about, has a lot to do with the underlying values we have, and we also would like to make us in terms of underlying values, thinking about the sustainable development goals. So that's one thought that we'd love to bring to the table. So user-centric, human-centered, life-centered. And the second point we'd like to bring also to that discussion and also reflect within the Design Thinking Impact Conference is actually the way we have been framing design thinking in terms of bringing that to life also as an approach for learning and personal as well as leadership growth. And the first step or the first layer, I would say, here it's not like shifting it, but here it's about like adding another layer. For us, or like in terms of our perspective on it, it has been pretty much at its very beginning to create opportunities, psychological safety as a concept, in order to enable people to grow their creative confidence, in bringing together their creative abilities and their potential also then to apply them in a team to create ideas, new concepts together. So that was kind of, I would say the first call to action when it came to design thinking within the educational sphere. The second one we also brought into in terms of was not just about this, but it was also about the what. So what are we actually trying to innovate on? And that brought us specifically for us here at the D.School in Potsdam to not only think about and work on creative confidence, but also enabling people to bring those ideas to life. And that's at the end about innovation. So it is about thinking about what's going to be your new concept that you'd like to bring to life and how you're going to do this. So the what and how comes together in here. So how can the implementation roadmap can look like? How would the first step in doing things differently as, for example, education at schools will look like? And having had considered that, a third layer that also comes along with the shift to life-centered was not saying how we can make it work, but also what type of impact are we creating in terms of what are the consequences, not only on the people we're designing for, but also the society we're designing with. And that brought us to framing design thinking also within sustainability. So all the things we are creating, all the leadership models, the organizational transformation processes, are they sustainable? And that's a question that brought us to that understanding that we also like to see challenged in the future of design thinking in terms of talking about it as a life-centered mindset to create those innovative solutions for complex problems, but also, and this is the team aspect that comes into play here, with a purpose and being aware of the impact you're creating. So that's the second thought in terms of trying to create that discourse of past, present, and future of design thinking. The third one already came a bit into play with the first one I've been talking about, and that's about the context. If we look back at that first publication, The Art of Innovation, it was at the end an approach that took into consideration as its most relevant context that designers have certain abilities business people don't. And I'm allowed to say so because I studied management. I've been working in the business development for quite a long time. So therefore, bear with me. If you feel this is over-stereotyped, let's talk about this later. But that was kind of the first step, like in the past, what design thinking took. So how can we bring those concepts to life by, for example, developing a process that's reflecting the designerly way of doing things into a different context, and that has been business. So that was more about translating us. How can we better understand each other if we have different disciplines as our backgrounds? And the second step we took, and was still further developed, this one, is actually not only about translating to find the equivalent in a different language, but also to transfer that. Because if we think about reinventing business, we think about also reinventing business designs. They are different from social innovations, from social impact design, and therefore, for that part, design thinking also had to change its ways of doing things in terms of tools, methods applied to, a certain problem in terms of transferring that to the social sphere. And the third one, and this is for me the most important one, is actually being respectful and taking into consideration actually the context you are in. And that's pretty much defined by your culture. For us, for example, the approach we took to design thinking differs a lot from the way it has been previously developed in a US American environment. And when we also started to work together with other institutions in order to help them, to support them to develop their own design thinking approach. So for example, in Asian cultures, also in African cultures, that's something that has to be carefully considered. And based on this, on like deep understanding from within, you have to transform the approach to what you need. And by having described that, that's going to be also kind of the line past, present, future that we'd like to bring to the table for the Design Thinking Impact Conference. And we also want to bring it to life for the Global Design Thinking Challenge. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Sherif, who will continue talking about that.
Thank you, Claudia. Hope you're all doing well. So yeah, as Claudia mentioned, and Claudia mentioned earlier, trying to build this bridge between South Africa and Potsdam may seem far geographically, but it's not far from a mindset perspective. And part of what we're trying to do, as Claudia mentioned, trying to bring these 4 dimensions together of being life-centered, sustainable, contextual, and also taking into consideration cultural and value to respect that contextualization. Putting this into practice is not so easy, but it's doable. And this is why we tried with this Global Design Thinking Challenge, where we're focusing on a 6-week program run locally and designed by HPI Potsdam, however, co-designed and shared with the rest of the GDTA members. And with this kind of thought or framing in mind, we thought about something that is life-centered, that affects every global citizen's walk of life is education. And as we're hitting the Sustainable Development Goals, something that can resonate with most places and most people. We also want to look at something that is sustainable. We want to think about how to bring and challenge current educational systems, regardless of what that challenge or system may be. If it's an access problem to classrooms, or if it's about a curriculum issue, if it's about a policy issue, it's about skill fit to future work, and so on and so forth. There are many challenges depending on the context you're in. But bringing in something like a different type of mindset, specifically ones related to design thinking, being experimental, being daring, having creative confidence, allows for a more sustainable world and way to behave around education and the planet we live in. And then we thought, okay, so how could we make it contextual and also work around and work with actually cultural values? And this is why we opened the call for co-design. And this map is not doing justice, because we would need something akin to one of those breaking news weather maps, right? Because luckily a lot of the GDTA members are joining every day. We're having lots of meetings and co-design sessions together. But at the moment, at least there's 10 confirmed institutions plus ourselves, HPI Potsdam, plus also 2 pending institutions that are actually signing up to be GDTA members to also join us in the challenge. And what we're trying to do is make sure we work with the program leads in all the different institutions to co-design and tailor the programs and the way they're run to be more relevant contextually and to the local context. So, of course, if you would like to know more, there's lots more information on our amazing websites. You can check it out there. If some of your participants or students or yourselves would like to participate, the call for applications is still active until Friday. And there's a lot more details there about the start and end date, but we will officially kick off at the Impact Conference in Potsdam, which Claudia will tell you about momentarily. And the selected teams, so 5 ideas selected by the public and an expert panel, will get to present their ideas at the DCON Festival in Cape Town to show the impact and range of solutions they've been able to derive. And with this, I pass back to Claudia to tell you a little bit more about the Impact Conference.
Then maybe we can say, okay, then I'm gonna share screen again. Yes, and that's then the shout out again to the Design Thinking Impact part. If you feel like attending that one, you're more than invited. So we're going to have the hybrid conference on the 15th and 16th of September, with also the launch of, as Sharif did already mention, the Global Design Thinking Challenge, but also with, I think, a diversity of and a variety of inputs, of networking opportunities, of hands-on activities, either on site or in the virtual world. And as we already said, it's open to on-site and online participants. Here are a few speakers also that will be at the conference and STEM. And for those of you who still need just like focusing on the link, this is it. So hbi.de/dt-impact is going to be the website, or is already the website, where you can also find further information. And without further ado, we'd like to hand it over to South Africa, to Jenny van Niekerk and Richard Perez, to talk a bit more about their perspectives on design thinking coming to an age, and also Africa's first global design thinking event with the DCon Festival in Cape Town by the mid of October.
Thanks, Claudia, and thanks, Sharif. And also big thank you to Steffi, who is in the back and organizing everything on the Potsdam side. There she is. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to Jenny and to Richard.
Wonderful. Thanks, Uli. Thanks, Claudia. Thanks, Sharif. Yeah, no, wonderful to sort of segue into what we're planning for in South Africa. I think, Jenny, you're going to share the screen. Jenny will share the screen. I'm just going to give a very quick sort of background to a little bit about the D.School in Cape Town. I think it was back in 2014, Claudia and her team came over to South Africa. There'd been many discussions around starting a D.School, Hasso Plattner D.School in South Africa. And that was really the birth of it back in starting 2014. And really we got going in 2016. And I really think the focus there was what is this, as Claudia's talked about, the sort of values, this mindset within the African context, looking at the history of the work that had been done at Stanford University in 2003 onwards, and then in Germany, in Potsdam, from sort of 2007, 2008. Really the question was, in an emerging market context, very different to what we might find in the global north, what could a design school, a D.School be, what value could it bring to South Africa and Africa. So we started in 2016 at the Graduate School of Business. We had a bit of a launch, and we had a little bit of a space, a bit of a prototype space that we worked with. You can go to the next slide, Jenny, where really over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been running multiple experiments, programs, collaborating a lot with our colleagues in Germany, and recently now also with colleagues on the continent. But really, I think where we had limited space, and I think we were quite surprised of the growth that we saw in design thinking, and the potential, and that's really where we then approached the foundation to say, look, if we're really serious about this experiment, which has proven to be very successful, we really need to build our own space. The university, being a very traditional university that we are hosted by, the University of Cape Town, struggled to accommodate us, and we really wanted to expand in the spaces in the proper way. And really this back in about 3 years ago gave birth to the start of designing and building a dedicated facility. And we visited both the team in Germany and did a number of workshops with Claudia, and went across to Stanford and did a number of workshops with George, and really tried to get an idea of if we were to build something, what is it that we should be building, and can we follow in some ways a bit of a design thinking process to get there. We ran a number of workshops with our alumni and with our students and with our staff, and really tried to look at practicing what we preach. And this has culminated into a new building, which is going to be very much the focal point of the D.Con Festival in October. We hope to move into the new building in a couple of weeks' time. And got a little video here, which, Jenny, do you want to quickly run that, and then I can speak a few seconds afterwards?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to ask if I can just for a moment to make this work. I'm going to stop sharing and then share again to get the sound right. All right. If you'll give me a minute, we'll put that on.
Yeah. So what we're excited about is that the D.Con Festival will be housed in this building, and to really be able to showcase it to the world, and celebrate real presence on the continent. Now Jenny does here. And one of our biggest challenges we had, and I think Uli also mentioned it, is this is the first time a building has been built from concept. So there was no brief that we could really give to the design team, to the architects. The best way we could give a brief was really to take them and experience at the D.School. So it's been quite a challenging project to build something where we haven't really got a baseline. Yeah, Jenny, is it working?
All right. We're having a few tech monkeys in the mix here. So I can play the video, but you're not going to be able to hear it, I'm afraid. So I'm going to play this. It's only a minute, right? Shall we do that? And you can get a glimpse at least, even if you can't hear the sound. And then we'll share the link so you can all watch them again afterwards.
Okay. Thanks, Jenny.
Hi, my name is Richard Perez. I'm the founding director of the Hasso Plattner School of Design Thinking. We've been in a temporary space.
You can imagine some great African percussion in the background.
For us. We've
I can hear
experimented, we've tried out new programs. It's an environment that we've managed to invite people to and show them what a D.School could be. But really, the challenges of scale has been a problem for us. And if we really want to have a presence in Africa, we really need to have a bigger space. And
All right.
dedicated facility in a unique teaching and learning environment is really what all the D.School is about. And to have this facility dedicated to that type of teaching and learning is going to be amazing.
There you go.
So it sounds like half the audio came through. But yes, so yeah, no, we actually heard we could hear my voiceover, but not any of the music. Yeah, so the D.Con Festival will be hosted in the new Hasso Plattner D.School at the University of Cape Town. And it's going to, I think, be a really exciting event. We hope we won't need to also provide a circus tent, and that we'll be able to house everybody in the building. But we've had a great response so far from delegates wanting to come. So it should be a really exciting opportunity for the not only the African but also the global community to come together and really start to have these discussions and unpack a lot of the work that globally we've done under design thinking, and also the aspects that Claudia is speaking to in the sense of its maturity and where it's going. But I'm going to hand over to Jenny, who will take us through a little bit more about the D.Con Festival and the programming, and take us into a bit of detail. Oops, do you want to try that video, Jenny? But I'll hand over to you otherwise.
Thank you. All right, here we go. Let's give this video a try. Otherwise, we'll share the link as well. And here we go. Great, there we go. let's go on to here. Right, thank you so much. Sorry about the sound not working, but we'll give that another chance sometime in the links in the chat. So let me tell you about the Decon Festival program. I've been lucky to be the program curator, working with the D.School Africa team, a committee of advisors, and really amazing people all around the world that have been helping weave together so many thoughts and ideas to make this happen. So we've got a 3-day festival coming up. Well, it's conference meets festival. So you've got lots of academic rigor and inquiry, some research, some practice being shared, as well as the festive elements that you can expect. And as you might have experienced in the previous Decon festivals in Potsdam, what's really exciting about this event going beyond Potsdam is that it's going, as it's the GDTA is 5 years old, it's taking design thinking global. And with that, at this event, we have the chance to, as we've said in this theme, connect global voices and understand how is design thinking unfolding and landing and being spoken about and applied in different parts of the world, from South America to Asia, all over Africa, Europe. So we'll be beginning with tracing those, the origins and the expansion of design thinking, and then really allowing us to celebrate what's been achieved thus far, the impact that it has had, looking at the evidence, but also interrogating how does it apply in different social cultural contexts, different economic conditions, different languages and professional disciplines, and particularly asking how does design thinking shape up for solving more complex problems, as Claudia showed on that graph, beyond product and service and experience design. How does design thinking rise to the challenge of, organizational and societal level complexity, where you've got multiple users, citizens, different voices, thinking about the future and the users of the future that we have to respond to. Also going even beyond human-centered design to planet-centered design. What kind of humanity are we idealizing when we think about human-centered design? So really opening up to the diversity, the democratization of the whole conversation about the field of design thinking, and anticipating, saying, where do we go from here? What is on the agenda? What matters really now? And what are the matters on the table as we chart the future path of design thinking? So just to mention as well, it's a hybrid conference. So coming to Cape Town, it's one of the most beautiful cities in the world, will be an amazing experience to experience the face-to-face conversations and interactive sessions, and to be part of the social and festive events in the city. But for those who can't fly here, it's going to be as exciting for our virtual delegates who will be able to also participate in interactive formats. We're looking at a big co-create session on the 3rd day using World Cafe style methodologies, both online and in the building. And yeah, we get to do it in this incredibly beautiful new building designed with design thinking and with design thinking in mind. Right, so here's a little look at the program as it's unfolding so far. The main part of the conference is the Wednesday to Friday. We have a workshop and a masterclass that are unfolding for the Tuesday. George Kemble will be here in Cape Town offering a masterclass, a workshop still to be confirmed, with a speaker's dinner and pre-registration for delegates. So on Wednesday, we get going with the opening ceremony and some great African rhythms. Yeah, there'll be rhythms and music and storytelling and dance and lots of African flavor. And we have Prof. Hasso Plattner coming to do our opening keynote address. Then we start looking at, we've got some wonderful speakers the pioneers talking about those early days and what was emerging and how design thinking emerged from those early days, and how it's going global now, celebrating this 5th year of the GDTA. And with it going global, we begin to say, what is happening with design thinking in different languages, cultures, and socioeconomic conditions? So a great panel discussion around that. We then go off into parallels and get to hear about how design thinking is intersecting and the practice and the methods being really enriched with, you know, coming together with systems thinking, management and leadership, empathy, somatic body-based experiences, some great sessions there, as well as data science. Daniele, I see you're in the audience, and Daniele is there, one of our confirmed speakers. Design thinking in complex organizations is then a wonderful keynote dialogue with Agnes Queck and Jean Litka and Scott Weiss. And then we celebrate at the end of the day with a street fest. On Thursday, we have in the morning looking at design thinking for business and leadership in this era of, you know, leaving no one behind, taking care of not only profit, but also people and planet and purpose. And what does leadership look like, where we take all of that into consideration? And where does design thinking help us drive that kind of leadership practice? Then we've got parallel sessions again with speakers from around the world bringing their practical experience of application of design thinking and some research pieces. And then we go off and experience the local innovation ecosystem in Cape Town, going on our D-Safari tours, where we'll split into groups, go off, and when we come back in the evening, the building will be transformed into the location of our cocktail dinner to celebrate and open this wonderful building. Day 3, then on the Friday, we have a keynote by George Kemble. We'll be looking at here, you know, so the narrative here is where have we come from, what's going on, where do we need to go from here, and now how do we expand and teach and learn design thinking going forward? And that in itself may require innovative pedagogy. So we're looking at multiple sectors. How do we teach and learn design thinking in the public sector, in academia, in business, in the social innovation sector? And we'll actually be going off into breakaways, both online and on site, and co-creating kind of a guidelines and mapping the path for the way forward. So really ending the conference, not just with having done a lot of speaking and listening, but having some real practical calls to action. So we're hoping to plant seeds at this event that will just be the beginning of ongoing conversations, new networks, new relationships. We then have the UCT Vice Chancellor, Professor Mamokgethi Phakeng, amazing woman, African woman leader, who's going to be doing her keynote about how we need to prepare interdisciplinary minded creative thinkers in our academic institutions to lead us in tackling the complex challenges we face. As Sharif just told us about the Global Design Thinking Challenge, we'll then be hearing all about that and seeing some of the results and innovations that have emerged. And that takes us to closing on the 3rd day, with really hearing from the audience and from our speakers, and really brought together with Richard and Uli's harvesting skills. What have we over these 3 days celebrated, interrogated, and anticipated? And that's your 3-day conference, Decon Festival Cape Town for you. I'll then hand over to Richard, where we'll mention on the Saturday a members breakfast, a GDTA members breakfast, bringing everyone together and hopefully doing it in a beautiful location in the Western Cape. And with that, thank you so much. And I hope to see you all there, whether it's on screen or in person.
Jenny, thank you so much. It all looks so easy, but I can, believe me, Jenny's been very hard at work with the team in the background. But yeah, well done, Jenny, and thanks for pulling that together. And just very briefly, just to add, on that Saturday morning, obviously we're expecting a number of the GDTA members to come to Cape Town. The idea will be to have a breakfast on the Saturday morning for us to get together. There isn't really opportunity for us to get together during the 3-day conference just because of the schedule. We'll obviously be having coffees and teas and lunches together, but the Saturday morning would be a dedicated session for us to get together. We're still unpacking what that breakfast and morning could look like, but we imagine it would be a breakfast and a bit of a discussion and a bit of planning going forward. But yeah, we still need to unpack the details of that. So if you are planning to come to Cape Town, please don't fly out on the Saturday morning. We would love you to spend the weekend in Cape Town, of which the Saturday morning host the GDTA members for breakfast. Yeah, and I think that's us. We've got about 15 minutes left over. I'll hand back to Uli. Thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot, Richard, Jenny, for the overview and the insights. And I can agree, Richard, you were saying it looks also easy, also what Claudia and Sherif were presenting, but looking behind the scenes, it is such a hard work. And thanks a lot that you're doing that. Ferhat is there. I see Peter absolutely. also. Yeah, Ferhat and Peter, the whole team. Thanks so much.
And on our side here, Steffi, behind the scenes and talking with so many people and trying to reorganize things, the slots, speaker slots, and so on. And yeah, and we are all not professionals in that, which is somehow good. And through the past years, we did the first Decon Festival in 2012, and it was a kind of amateur thing, but it worked out quite well. And I'm pretty sure it will work out this year as well as a very high level conferences in Potsdam and in Cape Town, and the workshop in between. Also, and I hope it will also invite others to become members of the Global Design Thinking Alliance. Since we are celebrating the 5th anniversary of the GDTA, it will also be the good chance to showcase new members. We're close to 30 members now, member institutions, and I'm pretty sure we'll reach the number of 30 institutions in Cape Town in October. At least at the end of the year, I'm pretty sure that we have 30 institutions around the planet, which is in the times we are living in right now, times we are experiencing, especially in Europe, with the war going on. It is a very promising and positive, a positive feeling, which I see also connecting to institutions in those states who are right now in a kind of fight situation, in the war situation. So I'm really looking forward to September and October, even if it's very close by. But now having got the chance to learn that everything is in a very good move and state, I'm pretty positive it will be highly interesting moments of innovation and moments of collaboration and international spirit. So the floor is open now for questions. If there is any additional idea, any question to our presenters here. Nalin.
Hey.
I see you unmuting. Great that you're joining from India.
Appreciations, Professor, the entire team, the way in which it had been crafted, the festival. It looks so promising, and I'm so excited, pumped up.
Excellent.
So will you come to both places, Nalin?
I will try to come to Cape Town. The 1 week plan, I'm trying to work on that.
Very good.
But the other one, we are hitting 25th year for SNS, so I may not be able to come to the other place.
Any other comment or?
Yeah, comments or maybe also thoughts. I mean, because that's also, I mean, a community of thinkers, doers, practitioners, reflective practitioners, and so on. So if you feel like that there is also, I don't know, a topic, a question, a statement, a stereotype, whatever, that we haven't been addressing so far, that you feel is not represented or whatsoever, please share it also with us in terms of also ideas for further development of what you would be interested in experiencing or discussing or doing. So Sebastian, see your virtual hand up.
Yeah. Hi, hi Claudia, hi Oli, and hi everyone. Just a question concerning the Global Design Thinking Challenge. Do you plan it to be like the ones you already had, like teams of, I don't know, 5-6 students and with international coaches, or do you also plan to involve the design thinking community even further in terms of, okay, we had this conference in September, we will have another conference in October. So, I mean, how to involve, you know, everyone from the design thinking world into this project, so to say, whether it's just as an interview partner, whether it's, you know, as part of the team, coaches, whatever. So do you have any plans for that as well? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, so we had initially had a really big wide scope, and kind of I think our eyes were bigger than our stomachs, so we reduced the scope a little bit to be only GDTA members for now. And part of the call for action was not just with students participating either in their own local institutions, in their local instance of the program or our own program, but also for contributions for exactly what you're saying, like expert talks, sparring partners for interviewing, for co-design, for testing, and so on. So if you are interested to contribute in that kind of capacity, feel free to please drop me an email. I'll put my email also in the chat now, and we can coordinate that moving forward for the challenge.
And adding on that, we're also gonna provide, as Sherry said, right, it's kind of a student-oriented activity, but we'd love to interact also with the community throughout that period. So that was also the reason why we wanted to kind of have that span of 4 weeks. So we're gonna also, for everybody who's interested, share via the conference websites a link to an online course like on OpenHPI, where we're gonna share glimpses into what's going on throughout those 4 weeks at different locations. And prior to the Decon Festival in South Africa, we're also gonna publish all ideas in short pitches, a very brief pitch format, where we also would like to get the opinions from the community about those ideas, so that also based on those opinions and votes, we're also going to pick ideas that are going to be then have the chance to virtually present on the 14th of October at the Decon Festival in South Africa. So in between, I think Sherif 6th or 7th of October and I think the 12th, because we also would like to give the teams a bit of a lead time of preparation. We're going to have this public voting or public presentation of all ideas, and then also picking the ones, the one or several concepts that we're also going to include in the presentation sharing session on the 14th of October.
Any other comment or question?
If I may add something, Uli, please.
Yes, Jenny.
Yeah, I'd just like to encourage everyone to go to the website for the Decon Festival. We'll pop that in the chat now too, and that's where you can find out more about the unfolding program, which the final program will be published there soon. You can also subscribe to updates and follow us on social media, and and register. There's a link right there to register, and you can register either as a virtual or a on-site delegate. Thank you very much, Farad, who's just posted the link. And also, there's a discount on registration for GDTA members, as well as for students. And you can go to the website to see what other discounts apply. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. It's really great to see everyone's faces.
I also like to record our appreciations on behalf of SNS to Sharif, who had been very supportive to help the challenge roll out. Thank you.
Good, Klostermans, yeah.
Hello.
Good to see you.
I have to congratulate you for this amazing work, and I'm all excited. I hope to be in person there. And I was wondering, I saw in the program the 11th is already interesting. What would be a good time flying in a couple of days upfront, like Saturday or even before? So what would be any proposals?
Yeah, Koen, thank you. I love your question. It's so concrete. It's like, let's book flights. Yes. So if for the workshops and masterclass on the Tuesday, we still need to pull together the details of that and exactly how many people we can accept and who it's targeted at beyond the students. So we will publish more information about that, but those would happen on the afternoon of the Tuesday. So it's always nice to catch an overnight flight to Cape Town if you can. And yeah, if you get here on the Tuesday, you've got time to land and orientate yourself and see the beautiful scenery before we get started.
Thank you. Probably I will take the weekend then.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, for those that have not, I mean, it's obviously a long haul flight for most people, because South Africa is one of those places that's not really on the way to anywhere. So it's an overnight flight pretty much from everywhere. But those that had not been to Cape Town before, I would highly recommend coming a few days before, spending 2 or 3 days in Cape Town. There's lots to do, lots to see. It's a city which is very geared for tourism. It's got some great attractions. You know, you really do need probably about a week or 2 weeks in Cape Town to see everything, but certainly 2 or 3 days would be a great way to integrate in, and it's a great time of the year as well. It's good weather, generally good weather. It's hard to tell nowadays with the weather patterns, but certainly it's a great time to be in Cape Town.
Yeah, having been there several times, and even this year already, and seen the construction of the building, I can really recommend to spend more than the 3 days there. Actually, spend a whole week. It's really worth it. It's such a great place, and also the campus, the campus where the new D.School is located. It's also a very, very nice one. And never forget, there is the ocean very close by. It's incredible views. Yeah. Anything else? I was seeing Zelda, but then she was disappearing. Or is she still there? No, I can't see her. So
I don't think so. Yeah, she was on the go and listening in while traveling. So I'm not sure if she can stay connected.
Yeah, I would say thanks a lot to all of you who presented here the current state of the activities around the Global Design Thinking Festival in 2022. I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to the September and October activities. I hope to get the chance to be physically there in both places. I'm pretty sure in Potsdam is kind of easy for me, but in South Africa, that is the plan to be there as well. And I'm also very excited about the Global Design Thinking Challenge, which that is something we're doing since quite a while, since several years now, but in a smaller scale. This one is the big scale, and it's addressing kids in school, and that is a topic I'm really, really looking forward to. And we are working on that since several years now, and I think it is a very good opportunity to get a lot of new insights from all around the world, how design thinking could have an impact in schools, not only in the university sector. And I like very much the motto you have in South Africa, and that should be the closing point for today here. Design thinking matters now. And I think that is a very good statement. So I'm looking forward to the conferences and the activities. And I thank you all for participating here and contributing. and let's work that so many people come together offline, physically, and also virtual, because we have that opportunity this time. We didn't have that 5 years ago. Now we have it. It should be the chance to have to generate a large global community. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye bye. Tschüss.